Hi students, and thank you so much for joining the Harbor College Transfer Center for our Next Steps for Transfer workshop. My name is Natalie Parra, and I'm a counselor at the Harbor College Transfer Center. And the intention of this workshop is to help and support our students with all of the next steps for transfer after they submitted their application to universities for fall 2021 admission. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Whether you're joining us on IGTV or YouTube or in person, thank you so much for joining us for this workshop. And let's go ahead and get started. So in today's discussion, we're going to be going over financial aid, acceptance letters, conditional admission, waitlist, UC statement of intent to register, CSU intent to enroll, appealing an admission decision, transfer timeline, and a Q&A session if you're in person with us. So financial aid is a really important topic that I do like to remind our students about. Now the deadline to apply for financial aid was March 2nd, so if you missed the financial aid application deadline, be sure that you at least try to get it in now, even though it's late, better late than never. I'm hoping that there is some aid still available for you. So be sure if you normally fill out your FAFSA application to do so, and same thing with your DREAM Act application, go ahead and get those filled out and add all the campuses that you applied to for admission as your campuses for fall. Additionally, you want to make sure that when you do this application, you want to make sure that everything is correct, and you want to also make sure that if you have any questions, you reach out to us so we can help you with that. The next thing are acceptance letters. So at this point, it's already May. You should have heard back from the Cal States and the UCs. Some privates probably have not gotten back to you yet about the status of your admission. Some of them like to play really big suspenseful, drama. So that is a really exciting part of transfer because it kind of leaves us down to the wire wondering what campus a student will choose. And we want to be here to say that whatever choice that you make, we're confident you'll make an excellent one. So USC, you'll probably hear back if you apply to USC by around mid to late May. They like to send physical letters in the mail. Now the out-of-state campuses, those vary by campus. Some campuses provide admission soon after applying, and others, they will let you know sometimes months later. So that's why you want to make sure that you're checking your emails every day, you're checking your mail every day, just to see the outcome of your applications. The next thing we're going to discuss is conditional admission, and a lot of my students, they kind of hear this phrase conditional admission and it's alarming for them because it doesn't quite sound like admission. And this is very common. This is actually the phrase that the universities do use. They have adopted it, and it's what I normally see. So you'll normally read your acceptance letter and it'll say something like, "Dear student, congratulations, you've been offered conditional admission to UC Merced." Now, when this occurs, this means that you have been admitted. So please do not mistake this for, not being admitted quite yet. You have been admitted, but what it means is that you're admitted on the condition that you maintain your application standards and you follow through with everything that was indicated in your application. So what this also means is that it's revocable. You want to make sure that you follow all the conditions, which include deadlines by campus, such as turning in your transcripts on time, submitting your enrollment deposit on time, registering for orientation on time, and so on. So I'll give you some other examples of conditions. This includes finishing all of your associate degree for transfer requirements by the end of spring, completing your Golden 4 classes for the Cal States, meaning English 101, English 102 or critical thinking, a communication class, and transfer level math by the end of spring, completing your Golden 3 for the UC, so that's English 101, English 102 or 103, and transfer level math. You also want to make sure that you complete your major specific requirements by the end of spring. So for example, if I applied to Cal State Long Beach as a psychology major, I want to make sure that, now Cal State Long Beach, let's say in this example, they do ask for Psych 10 to be completed by end of spring. So that means I need to make sure I'm in that class and doing well, because it will cost me my admission if something happens and I'm not able to complete the class. The other thing you want to make sure you're doing is completing your minimum 60 transferable units by the end of spring. So that means being very careful not to drop a class. Talk to a counselor if you feel like you're getting ready to drop a class so we can help you determine, if you need to add more units or discuss with the professor, reach out to tutoring, things like that to help you, because we don't want you to feel like you're alone in making these choices. We want to give you ample support before you make a big decision like that. And then, of course, submitting your transcripts to the university well before the deadline. The reason I say this is because for students who submit their transcripts, it doesn't, just because you're sending them electronically, it doesn't mean that as soon as you click send, that they're automatically going to be in the university's inbox, right? They actually, once you hit send, then they get sent to Harbor College, right? So that's why you want to try to get started with this early to prevent your transcripts from being received late. The next thing is you want to make sure that you update your CSU Apply with winter spring courses by January 31st. Now, for most of my students, it's already May, so this has already occurred, but if you forgot to update your CSU Apply or your UC application with your winter spring courses, this could have affected your admission. And then, of course, you want to make sure you submit your intent to register, meaning that you confirm with the university that you accept their admission offer, and you're now going to do the intent to register fee, which is normally $250 for UCs. With the Cal States, it varies by campus. Cal State Northridge does not charge students, but campuses like Dominguez, they charge $99 for intent to enroll, and then another $125 for orientation, right? So each campus sets their own fees, but that's why it's also important to be organized when determining which campus you're going to select. The next thing we're going to discuss is the waitlist. So what does the waitlist exactly mean? It means that the university has not denied or accepted your application yet. They have not made a decision. What this also means is you want to make sure that you plan ahead if you are on the waitlist. You want to make sure that if you're comfortable with submitting your intent to enroll to a different campus that has accepted you to save your place at a university, that you do so. I'll give you an example. Let's say a student got admitted to UCLA, but they're on the waitlist at UC Berkeley. Actually, let's do a different one. Let's say a student got into Cal State Long Beach, but they got waitlisted to Cal State Fullerton. You want to make sure that you go ahead, and if you're comfortable with submitting to Long Beach, even though Fullerton's your first choice, you accept the waitlist at Fullerton and then submit with Long Beach if you're okay with doing so. Just so that way in the event that it doesn't work out with the waitlist for Fullerton, you're still able to attend Long Beach in the fall. So this is, like I said before, it's kind of a sensitive topic because for some students, they really don't have the option to submit to one school, and then if they hear back from another school a yes, then they have to pay double, right, in enrollment confirmation fees. But at the same time, it really just depends on the student, because for some students, they are so, with their heart set on one campus, it's understandable, right? So that's why it's kind of something that if you need to talk to about with a counselor, you're welcome to talk to me about it, or any other counselor for that matter, and we'll help you weigh out the pros and the cons, and we'll go over that a little bit too here. So like I said before, it's neither a yes or a no, and students do not normally hear back until midsummer about the decision. You want to make sure that you're also being a competitive waitlist candidate by doing the following. You want to make sure that you're working on raising your GPA in the spring, so meaning that if you are able to try to get a 4.0 in the spring, that you do so, because that's actually one of the easiest ways to help bring up the GPA even just a little bit, is by getting A's. The next thing is finishing up requirements to meet ADT deemed similar if possible. So what that would mean is if you got waitlisted to, let's say, Cal State Long Beach, and it was because you didn't choose the psychology ADT, you just wanted to apply to psychology major without an ADT, then if you can, try to see me for an appointment, or any other counselor for that matter, and we could try to see if we can squeeze in the ADT for you somehow. And then also, you want to make sure that you complete additional recommended courses for the major. So if you found out that you got waitlisted to a campus, let's say, now I'll use the example, right? UCLA, you got accepted, but UC Berkeley, you're on the wait list, right? You want to make sure that you check with the counselor to see if you're missing any classes. That way you can try to be a little bit more competitive on the Berkeley wait list. Now with the UCs, you could also submit your intent to register at one UC campus and then wait to hear back from the waitlist campus. The only thing is that it's going to be very expensive because the waitlist, you won't hear back until in the very least June, July, August, right? And the fee is $250. So you would be spending $500 on 2 campuses, and that's extremely costly for a student. So that's why it's not something I like to throw out there, quite frankly, because, it's a lot. But also at the same time, we also have to think about what your transfer goals are, if it's time sensitive or not, and other things that come into play. And then lastly, you want to make sure you notify the campus. So be sure to follow through with accepting the waitlist offer from the campus before the deadline to do so. And you can also, like I said before, meet with a counselor to strategize getting accepted from the waitlist. What it means to make sure that you accept the waitlist offer before the deadline, they will give you a deadline in the waitlist offer letter saying, please accept waitlist offer decision by such and such date, right? So you want to make sure you get that done early if possible, right? Just to avoid missing out on the waitlist offer. Because once you if you miss the date to submit your waitlist offer and accept that, then your waitlist offer disappears essentially. The next thing we're going to discuss is statement of intent to register for UCs, and the deadline of the statement of intent to register is June 1st. So this means that you can accept admission to one UC campus only. You cannot transfer acceptance from one campus to another after you declare your intent to register, and it is a $250 non-refundable deposit which must accompany your acceptance. So like I said before, you do want to make sure that you pick the right campus because it's a serious decision and you cannot transfer it over to another campus. Now, the one thing you could do is if you're on the wait list for one UC and you accept another, you can still go ahead and accept the waitlist offer later on down the line, but you'll be paying double, so that'll be $500. So that's why it's important to really think things carefully through in your situation, especially before you make a decision. And you're also welcome to talk to a counselor about it. We're glad to help you with that. Now for the CSUs, you must submit your intent to enroll or register. And this normally includes a fee, promising that you will attend the campus. This will also save your place at the campus, and if your first choice waitlisted you might want to consider submitting your SIR to a campus that did accept you while you wait to hear back from the other campus about the waitlist. This way you will not lose your place at the other campus that accepted you. Some campuses do waive the fee based on income, so if your estimated family contribution on your FAFSA or Dream Act account was 0, you might be able to find that some campuses do not charge a fee to you for confirming your intent to enroll. Now, I just wanted to show you a little chart because for the UCs, it's very streamlined of $250 no matter the campus. Now, for the Cal States, the fee varies by campus. So it also shows the deadline. So Channel Islands is due May 3rd and the cost is $50 for orientation. Cal State LA was due May 1st and the cost is $100. For Dominguez Hills, it was due May 1st and the cost is $125 and $99 for intent to register and orientation. So it's about $224. Fullerton is due May 1st and the cost is $250, and some students do qualify for deferral. Sorry about that. At Cal State Long Beach, the fee is due May 1st of $150. At CSUN, there is no deposit fee, which is wonderful. Thank you, CSUN, for being so transfer friendly and for allowing our students to confirm their intent to enroll with no deposit required. And then Pomona is due on May 1st and the cost is $150. And for San Bernardino, the cost is $100 and is due on May 1st. So this is just a list of our campuses. And then just for your reference, our local feeder schools that our students are considered local to from Harbor College include Cal State LA, Cal State Dominguez Hills, and CSUN. So just want to recognize our local campuses that do honor our students by considering them local applicants. Okay, and then the appealing an admission decision conversation. So this is something that is quite It's quite difficult to talk about for our students. I think sometimes there is a lot of, negative feelings associated with getting a letter that is really hard to read and just has hard news to take in. But students do have the option of appealing an admission decision. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that the campus will automatically overturn their admission decision. You're essentially asking for them to take a second look at your application and with the hopes that they might say yes and change their mind. So the deadline does vary by campus, and each campus does have their own process, and the transfer counselor can help you find out how to appeal based on the specific campus. So at Dominguez Hills and Long Beach, it requests specific forms and documents that you have to turn in with your appeal. And that is why I like to try to help our students do that in a one-on-one appointment, just because it's a lot of information and it needs to be reviewed very carefully before turning it in, because at the campuses you normally can only submit one appeal. If they say no, you can't submit a new one, and if you turn it in incomplete, that looks like very ineffective for being able to get the admission decision changed to a yes. So that's why we want to make sure everything's perfect before you turn it in. Now, there are some top reasons for appealing an admission decision. Sometimes campuses do not correctly count units for students, or the student was able to add a class that they originally indicated they wouldn't be taking. Sometimes a student, maybe they said, oh, I'm not going to take Psych 10 because I just don't want to take it, right? And then the campus gives them a denial notice. That is when the student might want to consider adding the class and then trying to appeal the admission decision, saying, look, I'm in the class, may I please have a second look at my application. You also want to make sure that you are accurately reporting your associate degree for transfer on your application and academic renewal or repeat for your classes. We also have a wonderful appeal workshop where we help our students with how to write an appeal letter, procedure for admission appeals, alternative options, and just to provide a safe space of support for our students after kind of just receiving a lot of heavy news, and we want to make sure that the student feels supported and cared about. So you're always welcome to join, and we also have them on our YouTube channel and our IGTV, so you're welcome to watch a previous recording as well. And then just a friendly reminder, universities will be in contact with you via email, so you want to be sure to check your email daily to keep track of upcoming deadlines to complete tasks related to your admission. If you have questions about an email, you want to make sure you talk to a transfer center counselor, and we're glad to help you go through that email and see what you're missing or need to provide to the university. And then, of course, our wonderful transfer timeline, which is an ongoing process, and it just shows you what we're working on each component of the transfer year. So in fall, students are working on their applications and get them turned in. In winter, you input your fall grades and your spring in progress courses and your winter in progress classes through CSU Apply and or UC Transfer Academic Update. And in spring is when we follow up with the universities regarding all requests that they have for you, receive conditional admission, submit your intent to register, request GE certification after grades are posted, and then, of course, transfer. And then, last but not least, our ever so special transfer recognition ceremony where we get to celebrate you, and that's exactly what we hope that we can do. So what it is this year it's virtual, just like last year, but it is where our students are able to upload a picture of themselves, where they were admitted to for transfer, their major, and just a memorable quote that they'd like to share with other students or a thank you message for their family and loved ones, right? So definitely make sure that you RSVP to join us. There's actually a video on our YouTube channel that shows a tutorial of how to sign up for the ceremony. There's also the same tutorial on our Instagram channel, so you're welcome to check our IGTV, Instagram, or YouTube channels for more information on how to sign up. And then, of course, we just wish for you to connect with us. Make sure you give us a call if you have any questions at 310-233-4282, and you're also welcome to contact us on Instagram at LAHC Transfer Center. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day.